After a long wait, episode 8 of Helluva Boss Full Moon just released. In this video, like always, I'll give a brief synopsis of what happened, and then move on to talk about the things I liked and disliked about the episode. So the episode starts off with a duet between Stolas and Blitz. We're then back in the human world and see how the three Cherubs have been faring after getting kicked out of heaven. They're captured by the two Dorks agents from season 1. We find out that the Dorks have been given more funding and have created weapons to attack Hell. They created a portal and send the three Cherubs through with some new power armor. At the same time, Blitz is on his way to meet Stolas for their full moon deal. The Cherubs attack Blitz, but are stopped by the rest of IMP and a battle ensues. The Cherubs lose and get sent back to the human world. Blitz meets Stolas, where Stolas finally confesses his feelings for him. He takes the Grimoire and instead gives Blitz an Osmodian crystal. Blitz freaks out and the two have an argument. The episode ends on a cliffhanger with Blitz being teleported outside Stolas' home. So with the synopsis covered, let's talk about the things I liked first. The duet at the start was great, and although it wasn't a true duet, it was nice to see the pair sing. It was the only song of the episode and I think it was pretty good. The instrumentals were also fantastic as well. It really improved the scenes, especially the end argument between Stolas and Blitz. I especially like the contrast between the two singing at the start to the somber, heartbreaking moments at the end. As always, the animation was superb. I didn't notice any errors at all and it flowed really well. I especially liked the backdrops and effects in the Lust Ring. It contrasted really well against the plain-looking human world. One thing I liked about the Helluva Boss short, Hell's Bells, was the fact it fleshed out the world around the characters, with Millie and Sally Mae going about a normal day. Full Moon was similar in that we saw Blitz visit various shops and interact with the wacky shopkeepers. It made the world feel lived in rather than just a backdrop. It was great to see the return of some characters from season 1 as well. I thought the Cherubs were a lot better in this episode compared to in their debut. They all have unique personalities, with Keeney being my favourite. It was interesting to see them battle with IMP too, since in season 1 they didn't stand a chance. However, with the mech suits they actually did some damage to Luna and Millie. I can't wait to see the Dorks agents and the Cherubs return in a future episode. I'm glad Luna has a speaking role again. My favourite scene of hers was when she became smaller to avoid the bullets. And lastly, one of my favourite things about the episode was the emotional elements. It really tugs on your heartstrings and makes you feel for the characters. Stolas and Blitz have a bunch of miscommunication issues between each other and it's genuinely tough to watch, and that's a good thing. It's setting up for future episodes and I can tell it's going to be an emotional rollercoaster. It was pretty neat that the first half of the episode was really silly and wacky, while the final half was extremely serious and heart-wrenching. I think that was a deliberate choice and it worked really well to make you empathise with the characters. And now onto the things I disliked. Right off the bat, I think this was one of the weaker episodes of the season so far. First is the bloated runtime. The episode was quite long at 23 minutes, but I feel like while watching it very little happened. This was an issue with the original Cherub episode and I think Full Moon has inherited it as well. It took almost halfway into the episode for anything significant to happen, and to make things worse the ending was a cliffhanger. It came out of nowhere and I think the runtime was the issue. Like I said, it took ages for things to get going, and as soon as they did, the episode just ended. Similarly to the runtime, I think the writing and pacing was off in this episode. The show is known for its raunchy comedy and jokes, but I feel like this episode in particular was 90% sex jokes and 10% substance. It reminds me a bit of X's and O's. That episode had some really heavy moments like with Moxie's parents. However, it was juxtaposed with the sex jokes and dildos. The contrast didn't really work and it took you out of the episode. Full Moon is the same. The pacing was pretty off as well. Normally the episodes flow well with the A and B plot. Full Moon felt disjointed with the two plots just running alongside each other. The A plot was the Cherubs, while the B plot was Stolas and Blitz. The way they collided just didn't mesh well, and I wish that Blitz and Stolas' scenes were given more focus and were the A plot instead. The writing in particular felt pretty weak. The dialogue didn't really keep you engaged and there wasn't much comedy to balance things out. This, combined with all the sex jokes, just makes it feel like one of those if such and such was written by Vivziepop memes. It's a shame because some of the scenes at the end with Stolas and Blitz are really impactful, but the earlier scenes missed the mark and dragged the episode down as a result. So overall, what do I think? Well, I think the episode is alright. It's definitely not bad, but I think it had a couple misses. The dodgy pacing, the confusing A and B plot, and the dialogue held the episode back a lot in my eyes. On the contrary, I really enjoyed seeing some of Season 1's villains return, and this episode is really important for setting up the rest of Season 2. I reckon that this episode is a bit weaker, so that the next few episodes will be allowed to shine. So, what do you think? Do you agree with my takes, or have any of your own? Let me know down below. Thanks for watching.